All right. By the way, like your demo classes are still going on. Like it should be over by now, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I talked to the team regarding the requirement of extra classes for you. Okay, na? So they will be very soon scheduling the extra classes for you. Okay. Also, there you have the choice for extra classes. You can pick up the chapters for which you think you need more attention. The chapters which you think right now you should be getting the extra classes for those chapters, the important ones, the ones in which you're having more doubt or you're facing difficulty. Getting it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can tell me and we can schedule it accordingly. Okay, I will be
Um,
back in a minute. Let me just fill the cup of water and then we're going to continue. Okay,
okay, sir.
meanwhile you can do one thing. You can read this paragraph. Okay, no, I will be back. Yes, I'm back. Others haven't joined yet, no? Only you are present right now.
Yeah.
Okay, if you happen to have any doubts from the previous class, you can let me know. Okay.
No doubt, sir.
Okay, that's good. All right, let's continue. Talking about the protozoa, what we know about protozoa, that all of them are unicellular in nature. Getting it? They are unicellular. That is, their body is just made up of one single cell. Their body is just made up of one single cell. That is one important fact. Some of them will be living independently. They can live alone, while some of them will be depending upon others and deriving nutrition from them. That means they will be having a parasitic mode of nutrition. Take the example of, like, for example, like amoeba, right? So this amoeba is said to be living alone. Getting it now? It would be living alone. We have some other examples like ciliates, sporozoa, flagellates. So all these are the examples of different kind of protozoans. Getting it now? So amoeba, plasmodium, paramecium, these are also some of the examples of protozoans which we have. Furthermore, we see that these organisms can do movement with the help of special structures in them. Like in the case of amoeba, they can make false feet, and with the help of the false feet, they can move anywhere, wherever they want. And this amoeba is found in the water. It's found in the water. It can be found in the uh, dirty water, in the lake, in the pond, the water that is stagnant. There, this amoeba can be found, and it will form false feet that are called as pseudopodia, with the help of which it will be moving. So it can form these false feet. False feet. We have the example of this one also. That this one is the paramecium. Actually, this is another group of. This is another example of protozoa. Okay. And look at the hairy structures present on its body. With the help of this hairy structure called as cilia, it will be able to move from one place to another. And this paramecium, does it not represent the shape equal to that of the sleeper?
Yes, sir.
Right now? Okay. So two of the most common example is amoeba and paramecium. Okay, apart from that, we have plasmodium also. Plasmodium and amoeba becomes more important as amoeba will be causing some disease. Plus, plasmodium also causes some disease. We'll be learning about amoebic dysentery and we'll be learning about the malaria that is caused by plasmodium. Okay, now. Okay. Have a look at the structure of this. Have a look at the structure of this pseudopodia here, or the false feet. You can look over here. See, this is the false feet of the amoeba. Okay, na? And you can see how it has trapped the prey inside it. Okay, na? Now this prey that has been trapped, now it will go into the food vacuole. Inside the body, they have the food vacuole. Look at the first image here. This is the food vacuole. Vacuoles are basically kind of empty spaces inside the cell. They are kind of the storeroom of their body. Just like we have a storeroom in our house, they do also have a storeroom like a structure in which they can fill whatever they require. Okay, na? So this prey will eventually go into this. It will go into this food vacuole. Okay, na? And inside the food vacuole in the chapter nutrition and animals would have learned that the food vacuole is going to release the digestive enzymes, and those digestive enzymes are going to break down the body and digest it. Okay, na? And that after digestion, it will be spread into the cytoplasm and will travel to the different part of the cell wherever it will be required. Nonetheless, that was about amoeba, and that is its structure. And this is the false feet. Okay, na? Talking about the shape of the amoeba, what do you think? Does it have a well-defined shape, or it can change its shape whenever it wishes? Yes, it
Oh,
actually does not have a well-defined shape. Getting it now? So it can
yes, sir.
change. So it can change it whenever it wishes. Okay. So that is the thing. Okay. Talking about the disease caused by this by the protozoans. Okay. So there are different kind of protozoans that actually lives inside the human body. Okay, now there are different kind of different kind of protozoans. As many as there are 15 different kind of protozoans that lives as parasites inside the human body. Remember, as I told you, that some of them can live alone, while some of them will be living as a parasite also. So some of them are found inside our body as well. Okay, now one particular disease that is caused due to a protozoa is amoebiasis. The name is amoebiasis, sometimes also called as amoebic dysentery. Remember the name I was using moments ago, amoebic dysentery. Okay,
Yes,
now?
sir.
So it is caused by an protozoa by the name of Enta-amoeba histolytica, which lives in the large intestine. Okay, now which lives in the large intestine, and whatever food particle goes there and whatever bacteria goes there, so this amoeba, I mean to say this Enta-amoeba histolytica is going to feed on that. Okay, now so it's not good for the health. Some of the protozoa can be good for the health, but this one is not good. This anti-amoeba histolytica is not good. Why? It can cause diarrhea. It can cause dysentery, in which blood and mucus will be coming from the solid waste, that is a stool. That is one thing. So this is what happens in amoebiasis, which is caused by anti-amoeba histolytica. Amoebiasis is also called as amoebic dysentery because blood and mucus comes in the solid waste that is in the stool. Getting the whole thing now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Plus, where this virus is where this protozoa is likely to be present?
Insects.
No. I mean to say, let me rephrase my question. Like when the waste will be coming out of the body, it is likely to be present there now in the stool, right?
Yes, sir.
So when the house flies, let's say, like the common house fly that is Musca domestica, by the way, when it will be sitting on that waste, so then it will be going to transmit it. So the house fly will be acting as a carrier of transmitting this parasite from one place to another. Getting it now? Plus, we have some other diseases also, like this African sleeping sickness is also a disease caused by a protozoa. You don't really have to go into that much of that, but just know that there is one protozoa that will be known to cause African sleeping sickness. Okay, now like the name itself says that what will happen. Okay, now so in this, like the person will be losing concentration. He'd be feeling drowsy. Okay, now he will be suffering from fever, be sweating a lot, and he would be feeling sleepy. Okay, now you know what drowsiness means, right? Okay, now So that is the thing. Just let me clean the overwritings from the previous classes. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I will be resharing my screen. Okay. Give 2 examples of protozoans.
2 examples.
Yeah.
Amoeba
And
and Plasmodium.
Plasmodium. Can you give one more example?
One more.
Hmm. It has a slipper shape.
Mm.
It has a
Slipper. Wait.
shape similar to that of a slipper. Yeah.
Uh,
Starts with P. That is, it has hair-like structures on its body called as cilia. That is paramecium. Okay, no?
okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. By the way, like in the morning, if the classes get scheduled, will you be available for extra classes in the morning?
Um, like which time in the
By the
morning?
we'll be having your school as well, no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
In the
thereby,
weekends also, I don't think I'll be free in the morning.
okay, 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 okay. So we can schedule it earlier then. Okay, okay. Okay. So protozoans, do they live alone, or can they exist, or can they be parasitic also?
They can live alone and be parasitic.
Be parasitic both. Are they unicellular or multicellular?
They are mostly unicellular.
Most, all of them are unicellular. Okay, now. Okay, that is one thing.
All okay.
Okay. What did we learn about the protozoa? I mean to say, what did we learn about the amoeba?
Um,
Hmm.
like what?
Like we learned, it has false feet. We learned how it would be obtaining its food,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And few other things, like we learned that
It
it would
doesn't
be
have a defined shape.
it doesn't have a well-defined shape. Plus, it will be found living in the water.
Okay.
Okay, no? So these are the things which we learned about it. Okay. Plus, they will be causing some disease also. Like the common diseases caused by them are this African sleeping sickness. Okay. Plus, we have the amoebic dysentery. One of the most common disease caused by the protozoa is the malaria. So malaria is caused by actually plasmodium. Right now, remember we had this example in the beginning. So malaria is caused by actually different species of plasmodium. Plasmodium is the name of the one of the protozoa. Okay, na? But it has different species. Okay, but nonetheless, just understand this, that malaria is caused by plasmodium. Okay, and plasmodium is a protozoa. Plasmodium will be found to be living in the red blood cells of the human body. Okay, not naturally, but from somewhere, like if from the mosquito bite, it can enter there. Okay, now. So plasmodium, it will be infecting the red blood cells of the human blood. It will be infecting the red blood cells. Okay, and it is transmitted from an infected person to a healthy person via the female mosquitoes, that is female anopheles here. So this is the carrier of this plasmodium protozoa. So suppose this is the skin of an infected person. This is the skin of the infected person, and the blood of that infected person carries the plasmodium. Getting it now? Where exactly? In the red
Our
blood cell.
red blood cell.
Okay, now, so in the red blood cell of this infected person, plasmodium is present. So when this mosquito is going to inject its proboscis, like this mouth, this tube-like structure, that is called as proboscis. So when this mosquito is going to inject the proboscis into the skin, so it will be sucking up the blood. Along with the blood, it will suck up the plasmodium protozoa also now. So when this is going to sit on the skin of a healthy person, so thereby it will be transmitting the infection to that person, transmitting the plasmodium into that person. Okay, now
Where the mosquitoes are called the vector, right?
yeah, they are the vectors. Okay, they are vectors of the disease. Okay, now
So,
mosquitoes, house flies, they are vectors of disease. Basically, will be transferring disease from an infected person to healthy person. They are vectors of dengue also. They are vectors of malaria. They are vectors of chikungunya. Okay, now so that is the thing. Okay, but they are important for the nature as well. They have a very big role to play in the nature. Mosquitoes and house flies. So we have learned about the protozoan. So if you happen to have doubt from that topic, please let me know. From
no, sir.
no? Okay then. All right. Talking about the group of talking about viruses. Viruses are actually very different from other microbes. Viruses are the microscopic organisms, but they are different from other microbes in this manner that they will be reproducing only inside the cells of the host organism, which can either be a plant, which can either be an animal, or in fact, it can be a bacteria. Getting it now? How can it be a bacteria? Think about this. So the thing here is that for something to enter into another thing, it has to be smaller than other thing now. For the virus to enter into the body of the bacteria, it has to be smaller than the bacteria. So
Yes,
viruses
sir.
are the smallest living organisms, the smallest microorganism, I mean to say. Okay, na? So thereby they can go into the body of the bacteria too. Okay, na? That is one thing. Plus, viruses are said to be the connecting link between life and death. So when they are outside the host cell now, so they will show no symptoms of life. They will not do any metabolic activity. Neither they will be doing respiration, or neither they will be doing any other things like excretion, etc. Getting my point now? So in
Yes,
that
sir.
sense, viruses are kind of very unique organisms. They are the smallest microorganisms out of all their smallest microorganisms. Here is a list to give you a reference. Like this is the size of the red blood cells. This is the size of the E. coli bacteria, the bacteria that causes the E. coli disease, and that's the size of the lysosome. Okay, na? Lysosome is a structure present inside the cell. Getting it now? Then this is the influenza virus. This is the HIV virus, and that is the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And look at the size of these three viruses. All of these are the size of the viruses here, and how small they are as compared to the red blood cell or this bacteria. So, will it not be very easy for these viruses to go inside the red blood cell or the go inside this bacteria? Yeah.
Sir.
So viruses are the smallest of all the microorganisms, and they are said to be so small that they would be about 500 million rhinoviruses that could fit into the head of a pin. So if you have a pin like this, for example, so in just the head of the pin, about 500 million rhinoviruses, the virus that causes common cold, can fit there. Getting enough? What I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What will be the host organism for the virus, Ramesh?
The host.
Hmm. Could be any animal cell, no?
Okay.
Plant cell
Mm.
plus bacterial cell also. Okay, no?
Yes, sir.
That is the thing. Okay. So they do not show most of the characteristics of living organisms. Neither they respire, neither they're going to feed, neither they're going to grow, excrete, or reproduce plus move on their own. So they will be reproducing only. By the way, one important, like they will be reproducing when will be they will be outside. Okay, no. I mean to say they would be reproducing when they will be entering the living cell. So as they will be entering inside the body, inside the living cell, they will start to obtain nutrition from it, and then they are going to reproduce and multiply. So when they will go into the cell of the animal, plant, or bacteria, then they are going to multiply further. Okay, now.
Okay,
So
sir.
as long as they are outside the living cells, they behave as non-living things. Okay, one thing, that's the thing. So because of this, they are said to lie on the borderline that is dividing the living organism, that is dividing the living things from non-living things. So they are said to lie on the borderline of the living things and non-living things. Plus, viruses are agents of various diseases. They will be known to cause different kind of diseases as well. So they are said to be agents of disease. So there's a long list of disease that is caused by virus. Can you think of some of the disease?
COVID,
Yeah, the most common one, COVID. Okay,
influenza,
influenza, very good. Influenza,
then
common cold, right?
common cold,
Common cold is there.
HIV,
HIV, yeah. Immunovirus, human immunodeficiency virus, yes.
then
And measles, no? Measles
uh,
is there. You have polio. Polio is also caused. You have examples of smallpox plus
chickenpox.
chickenpox, exactly. Okay, na? And there's a long list of so many diseases are there. Okay, na? So these are caused by the viruses. Okay, na? Plus the disease that are caused by the virus, na? Disease caused by virus can't be cured with antibiotics. Okay, na? It can be cured with antibiotics. We're going to learn about this antibiotics in the later part of the class. Okay, so hope this much should be clear. Okay, now the
Oh,
person that you see here in the slide now, yes, Ibrahim, how are you? Seem to have joined from a different ID today. So the person here, see, you see, is the Dmitry Ivanovsky. He has been called as the father of virology. Okay, na? So virology is the branch of science where we study about the virus and the infections that they will be causing. Getting it, guys? So this person has been called as the father of virology. So he has been called so because of its great contribution in the discovery of the different microorganisms. In fact, he was the first person to have discovered an organism that was so small, that was the smallest. That is virus. So he is the discoverer of virus. Keep that in mind. Discoverer of virus. Okay, now that is one thing. When we look at the shape of the virus, so virus could be of different shapes. Virus could be of different shapes, like it could be polyhedral, it could be enveloped, helical, or have a complex structure like this. Okay, take for example the virus that is bacteriophage. Virus by the name of bacteriophage has a very complex structure like this. uh, Take the example of which virus do you guys think has a similar structure like this enveloped structure?
COVID-19,
COVID-19, exactly, right, Ibrahim? So
Yes, sir.
COVID-19 is there, plus HIV virus also has a similar structure. HIV has also similar structure. When we look at the influenza virus now, the virus that causes influenza, that too has a similar structure. Plus the virus that causes hepatitis B, that too has a similar structure. When we look at the polyhedral structure, so the virus by the name of adenovirus has this polyhedral structure. Okay, now you guys have learned about the polyhedral or not?
I don't think
Polyhedral,
so, sir.
it's a 3D shape now. It has several flat shapes. Flat shapes are there. Okay, now like you'd have learned about polyhedrons, like you'd have learned about prism, pyramids, or you might have learned about some other solids. Okay, anyways, so that's the case here. Okay, now here you can see the examples of some other virus, like this Ebola virus have a structure like this. Okay, how are they different from other microscopes? We have learned that they can reproduce only inside the cells of the host organism. That is one thing. Now, question is like, how can there be any advantage of virus? We know that there are so many disadvantages that it be causing a wide range of diseases. Okay, now, and getting rid of a viral disease is very risky, very, I mean to say, very difficult. Okay, now, recently we have observed that how COVID-19 is very difficult to control. The rate of transmission of the virus is very rapid. So it will be rapidly transmitting from one infected person to another. So thereby it's kind of difficult to control its growth. Okay, but it has some advantages. Getting guys, there are some limited advantages of viruses, and that are studied like in the higher studies. We are learning about the advantages of virus. Okay, na? Like they can be used to treat some of the illness, or they can be used to deliver vaccine to a particular place in the body, or in order to diagnose an infection they can be used. Getting it what I'm trying to say? Okay, na? So in some areas viruses have their utilization. Okay, so they are utilized as vectors of carriers. What kind of carrier? What will be they carrying? So they will be carrying the vaccine to a given place in the body. So right now they will be transporting the material needed to treat a disease to a various target cells. For example, there's a target cell in the hand. Okay, na? And I have to like the vaccine needs to be transported to that area. So with the help of the virus, it can be done. That is the thing. Then when we talk about vaccines, so Dr. Edward Jenner was the first person to have made the first vaccine of the world. Getting what I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir.
So he created the world's first successful vaccine, in fact. And he found out actually that the person who were infected with the cowpox, now they became immune to smallpox. So basically, they were milkmaids. They were milkmaids. 1 minute. So milkmaids who had worked now, the milkmaids who were working with the cow now, so they were infected with the cowpox. What were they infected with? They were infected with cowpox, but they became immune to smallpox actually. So what he used to do now, he used to, like, he would be taking some of, like, for example, there's a milkmaid, for example, okay, and say that the milkmaid is suffering from cowpox. Okay, so there will be some rashes on the skin, isn't it? On the skin there will be some rashes, right, Ibrahim and Ramiz?
So,
Okay, so he took those rashes. He took it from his hand, from her hand, and he rubbed it on the hand of a child, and that child was suffering from smallpox. So this child who was suffering from a smallpox, or was not suffering from a smallpox, I mean to say, it is considered that child is suffering from a smallpox. So when those rashes were rubbed on the hand of this child, that child got cured. That child got developed immunity against this. Getting it what I'm trying to say?
yes, sir.
Or if the child was not suffering from it, the smallpox, if the child was not suffering from a smallpox, so when he or she was exposed to the smallpox now, then he was not kind of, he did not got sick. That is the thing. Okay, now hope you guys are able to understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so he was the first person to have created the world's, in fact, first successful vaccine. Then the topic is like, what is vaccination? So vaccination is basically the action of giving vaccine. It's the administration of a vaccine to help the immune system develop immunity from a disease. Okay. Now the question is that, how does the vaccine basically work? So whenever a vaccine is introduced in the body, so the body would be first of all fighting it, and it will be successful at killing it. How does it work? So the body will be producing some antibodies. What does the body does? It produces some antibodies, and those antibodies are going to remain in your blood. So the next time when the actual and the strong virus or the strong microorganism is going to infect the body, the person will already have antibiotics prepared earlier in his or blood, in his or her blood, so they will be able to better fight the microbe. Okay, now plus vaccines are nothing but they contain a microorganism or virus which are weak, or they would be in a killed state, or they could be in a weaker state, or we can take some of the structure from the body of that organism. For example, say that this is the structure of a virus, so we can take out some of the structure from their body to make a vaccine. Getting it what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now so what do you guys think, like how is a vaccine made? Yeah,
So it takes dead bacteria and
basically we make it from the dead or the weak versions of bacteria or viruses, right? Now that is
yes,
one
sir.
thing.
Yes,
Or
sir.
we can take some of the part of the virus or the bacteria, some body parts can be taken. Okay, but they are important that they are weak, they are not deadly. Okay, no, that is one thing. So while they are injected to the body, while vaccination is done, the body will be preparing antibodies. Okay, na? Antibodies are going to remain in the blood. Okay, na? Antibodies are going to remain in the blood. So when the next time actual virus enters the body, the body will recognize it and will be able to fight it in a better manner. So in a way, it prepares our body's immune system to respond to it, to respond to the actual microbe. Okay, now I hope this should be clear. Okay, so we have learned some of the important things about the virus, right? Okay, you guys tell me that viruses are the smallest or not? Are the smallest of all or not?
They are the smallest microorganism
Well, the smallest microorganisms. Okay. Plus, what kind of disease do they cause? Can you give some examples of the disease spread by them?
they cause viral diseases such as COVID, polio, hepatitis B.
Right. Okay. Okay. Can they be useful in studying biology, or can they be useful in creating some disease?
Mm.
Or as a carrier, can they act as a carrier? Can they act
Yes, sir.
as a carrier of vaccines? Yes. Okay. No?
They can carry vaccine, they can carry the vaccines to the
Hmm. Target
studies.
site in the body.
Yeah,
Okay. No?
target cells.
Okay. Okay. And vaccines, which we have learned, they would be providing immunity or protection against the particular disease. Okay. No? That is one thing. Okay. Vaccine, also keep this in mind that vaccine basically will be containing the dead or the weakened versions of the microorganisms. Okay. So vaccine or vaccination is particularly asked in the exam. So try to work on, try to at least work on that. Okay. Okay. These are the questions which will be doing once you would have learned about, like, let us try if you guys can answer these questions. Anyways, in the other part of the class we'd be relearning about it, but try to answer these questions. Which of the following is a disease caused by protozoans?
Malaria.
Right, Ibrahim, is it malaria or different? It's a
Yeah, it's malaria, right?
exactly. And the name of the protozoa that causes it?
Plasmodium.
That is plasmodium. Very good. Okay, what about other diseases like tuberculosis?
That's bacteria.
That's bacteria. And the name of the bacteria is
Is it cocci?
myco no,
Oh,
mycobacterium tuberculosis.
okay.
Okay, that will be causing it. Polio is caused by the poliovirus, and typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. The name of the organism that causes typhoid is Salmonella typhi. Okay, for tuberculosis it is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. tuberculosis. For polio, we know it's simply the polio virus. For malaria, it's the plasmodium. And for typhoid, it is salmonella typhi. And this is also a bacteria. Keep that in mind. Okay. Which of the following disease is caused by a bacteria out of these?
Tuberculosis.
Exactly. Okay. Some plants have nitrogen fixing bacteria in their root nodules. What are these bacteria called?
Blue green algae. Or is it
Blue,
rhizobium?
blue green algae, or you're saying rhizobium. It's actually rhizobium, no?
Okay.
Rhizobium are found to be living in the root nodules. Okay, no?
Okay.
By the way, blue green algae also help, but they are not found in the root nodules. We'll be learning about this. Okay, na? In a minute, we'll be learning about this. Okay.
Sir, it's the female Aedes mosquito, right?
Aedes mosquito, exactly. Okay, no? So we must take measures to stop the breeding of the Aedes mosquito, which is responsible for spreading the dengue fever. Okay. So we have learned about the different groups of microorganisms. Then the question is, where do they live? So they will be found to be living in almost all the kind of environment. Okay, whether it be the cold, icy climates, whether it be the hot springs where the temperature is unusually very high. So they will be found in all kinds of environment, ranging from extreme cold regions, like they can be found in the polar regions as well. Okay, they'll be found in the frozen lakes also. They will be found. Okay, they will be found in the hot springs, or they will be found in the marshy lands also. Marshy, marshy lands. So one thing is clear, that they can be found to be living in almost all kind of environment. Remember, I gave you the example of an organism that it was able to survive for few minutes in space as well, right?
Yeah.
Marshy land, you understand or not?
Like, um,
Like it's a wetland basically, kind
yeah.
of a wetland where the ground, where the water will be covered with the small grasses and mosses, and other soft plants. Okay, no? Plants that have a soft stem. So it's a wetland that is covered with soft plants that have a soft stem. There will be grasses growing on that. Okay, no? So from a distance, it will appear if it's as a it will appear like it's a land, but when you go there, when you step on it, it will be water basically. Okay, no? So marshes are the basically the areas that will be commonly found at the mouth of the river. Getting what I'm trying to say? At the mouth of the river, it will be common. Okay.
Okay.
So there also it can be found to be living. Plus the water that we drink, there also certain microorganisms are found. Okay. Furthermore, some of the microorganisms will be living independently, while some of them will be living as parasites, as we know. So some of them will be living in the bodies of other organisms, like we have virus. Viruses would be parasitic in nature. Protozoans are also parasitic in nature, etc. Further, it can be found living inside the soil, in the water, in the frozen ice, as I told you. Plus, inside the gut of the human body, also it is found to be living. Getting it? So there also it is found to be living. While some of them are beneficial in digestion, also the bacteria that are found in the gut, they are actually helpful. Some of them will make you sick. Some of the microorganisms will make you sick. For example, we know about anti-amoeba. Remember about anti-amoeba histolytica? Is Ramiz and Ibrahim, anti-amoeba histolytica, which is a protozoan that is
Yes, sir.
found to be living in the large intestine now,
Yes, sir.
and that can cause amoebic dysentery, because of which blood and mucus will be coming in the stool. But some of the microbes are helpful. How are they helpful? So some of the microorganisms helps in the process of digestion in the human body. Getting it? That's what I'm trying to say. Like some species of some kind of lactobacillus bacteria will be helping in the fermentation of the carbohydrates inside the body. Getting it what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that is one thing. Or some of them will be present in the large intestine also, and will be breaking down some of the complex things present in the food. Hmm. So microorganism would be aiding in the process of digestion in the human body. They can be found to be living in the gut, okay, and they will be breaking down the complex dietary fibers that are present in the food. You guys know about roughage now, right? So they will be helping in breaking it down. Although we can't digest the fibers, but the bacteria will be feeding on it. Actually, the roughage that we eat, it is not only good for the bowel movement of the stool, okay, na, but it is also acting as a food for the gut bacteria. Na? The cellulose that makes up the roughage. Does your body require it to obtain energy? Do we get energy from it?
Yeah.
No, Ibrahim. Remember, the cellulose that is present in the plant-based food now, it is adding bulkiness to the food. Getting it? It allows the proper bowel movement, but it is not providing you energy. So it is actually a food for the gut bacteria. Getting it now? That is one thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So hope this much should be clear. And these are the parts of the body where the bacteria are most commonly found. It will be found in the skin, in the gut, mouth and throat, nose, stomach, vagina, etc. So we have learned about this. Plus, remember in the beginning, Ramesh, I told you that we were right now. So far, we had only been learning about the characteristics of the different microorganisms. The good and the bad part about them we haven't discussed that, because I told you in the later part we'll be learning about them in detail. So, in general, the uses of microorganisms are as follows: in preparation of curd, bread, cake, in alcohol manufacturing, the manufacturing of acetic acid, preparation of different kind of antibiotics and vaccines. They would be acting as a decomposer and thereby cleaning the environment, and they will be also adding the nutrients to the soil and thereby will be increasing the fertility of the soil. So these are in general some of the uses of microorganisms. But at the same time, they will be making us sick. They not only the humans, but they will be causing some disease in the plants also. Like you would be aware about the yellow vein mosaic virus in the bhendi, okay, and the citrus canker. You would be aware of the wheat rust, right? That is caused by fungi. So they will be damaging the plants also, not only the animals. Plants are also damaged by the microbes. Plus, they will be making the food spoiled and thereby can lead to food poisoning. Okay. So first, we're going to learn about the good part of the bacteria, like how they are acting as a friend to us. Okay, now. So let us learn how the bacteria are going to be useful to us. Right now, we are going to learn about the bacteria. Later on, we'll be learning about the fungi, the yeast, and everyone. Okay. So bacteria would be first of all helping in decomposition, right? It would be decomposing the organic waste like vegetable peels or the dead remains of animals or the excreta of the animals. It will be decomposed by the action of bacteria. Getting it, guys? What I'm trying to say?
Sir.
So it will be helping in cleaning up the environment. Why? Decomposing the organic waste. Like it could be human excreta, it could be vegetable peels, etc. That is the first advantage of bacteria. Plus, it will be used in preparation of certain medicines also. Okay, na? So in the preparation of medicines also it is used. The question is that how exactly are bacteria used in preparation of medicines? So you guys know about antibiotics, right? You guys would be aware of the term antibiotics now. So antibiotics are made using this using the bacteria. Okay, na? Although antibiotics are made using the fungi also, but primarily bacteria will be used. So antibiotics are prepared using the bacteria. Getting it now? So now the question again comes here that what are antibiotics? So antibiotics are the medicines that will be used to treat. If the person is infected, that person will be treated, or in order to prevent the bacterial infections by either killing that bacteria or by either stopping them from growing further. Okay, now. So that is what the antibiotics are. They are medicines that will be either preventing the growth of bacteria or either stop or either killing it. Got my point? What I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, na? Yeah. So that is the thing. Okay. So that is one such use. Plus, it increases the fertility of the soil. Now, increases fertility of soil. Which nutrient is fixed in the soil by the bacteria? Yeah. Which nutrient? I mean, which mineral is fixed in the soil by the action of the bacteria, guys? Isn't it the nitrogen?
Uh,
Yeah. Nitrogen fixing bacteria now. And we have the examples of nitrogen fixing bacteria as follows. We have learned about nitrogen fixation, and the bacteria that does it, the most common one is rhizobium. No, rhizobium. Apart from this one, blue green algae is also an example. Okay, blue green alga is also one such example. Blue green alga, by the way, sometimes are also called cyanobacteria, but just know this name. Okay, now we have the examples of like azotobacter also. Azotobacter. So all these bacteria would be fixing the nitrogen in the soil. So far we learned about decomposition, how in the medicines it will be used, and in the increasing the fertility. Okay, but the most common use we haven't learned about right now. That is the process of curd formation right now. So there's a bacteria called as lactobacillus that will be multiplying in the milk and convert it into curd. Okay, now so it will be making helping in the setting of the curd also, or making of the cheese also. There this will be used. Okay, now that is the thing. By the way, ever thought about who discovered about the lactobacillus bacteria for the first time? Huh?
uh, not
Yes.
really.
What about you, Brahim?
So 1 second, I'll be back.
Okay, okay. Ibrahim, I know your syllabus, but I don't know when your exam is. Can you update me on your exam date?
8 October.
8th October. Okay. I'll be back in a minute. Just 1 minute.
Sir, I'm back.
Yeah, Ramesh, you back in the class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this bacteria by the name of lactobacillus, it will be multiplying in the milk and thereby converts the whole milk into curd. Okay, now. By the way, why is curd sour in taste?
Due to the uh, acid,
Name of acid is
uh, lactic acid.
lactic acid. Okay, now. Okay. The person by the name of Ernst Moro. Okay, the person who discovered about this, like the curd is being formed since for so many 100 years it has been formed. Okay, now, but no one knew about how exactly curd formation takes place. I mean to say, what is the bacteria responsible for this? Okay, now, so it was the person by the name of Ernst Moro. Okay, now, who in the year 1900 first of all discussed about this bacteria. Okay, now that is lactobacillus bacteria. Okay. Now curd has so many advantages for the health. The curd has so many advantages, right? Now, like it is a good source of protein. Curd has several advantages. One should be adding curd in their daily diet, like it improves the digestion. It helps to clear the digestive system. Plus, it is rich in some minerals like calcium and phosphorus. And calcium and phosphorus are important from which part of the body? Yes, Ibrahim and Ramiz?
For
Bones.
the bones.
Right, the bones and for teeth as well. Okay. Further, like it is good for the hair also, like as it contains protein, no, and it contains essential vitamins, so it can make your hair shinier and kind of more stronger. Anyways, that is the thing. Okay, no, but they can have some side effects, so it should not be consumed too much. Like it can like a like if you're suffering from cough or cold, it can aggravate the situation further. It can make the situation worsen the situation. Okay, so that was all about this. Okay, now if you guys have any questions from there, please let me know. Otherwise, we are going to discuss about this fungi.
No doubt, sir.
Yeah. Talking about the fungi, the most common example is this yeast. Is yeast a multicellular or unicellular? Yes, Ibrahim and Raviz.
Unicellular.
What do you think, Ibrahim? That is
Multicellular.
no, it's unicellular actually. Okay, now talking about its use, so it is mostly used in the baking industry to make the bread, pastries, and cake because it helps in fermentation. Because it will be helping in the process of fermentation. So, question is that what is fermentation? So, fermentation is kind of a process that breaks down the that would be breaking down the organic substances like glucose. Okay, na? It will be broken down into some other compounds. Okay, na? And it will be carried out by some bacterias and can be carried out by some fungi also. Okay. In exam, many times the question is asked that who discovered fermentation for the first time. So the person by the name of Louis Pasteur, he is being credited as the discoverer of the fermentation process. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the Louis Pasteur. In the year 1857, he discovered about the fermentation for the first time. Thereby, what he discovered now, not just discovered, but he actually showed to the world also, like how the yeast will be transforming the glucose into alcohol. Okay, now thereby the um, yeah. So the fermentation is the process by which the yeast would be converting the sugar into alcohol, and it was discovered by Louis Pasteur in the year 1857. Okay, so yeast will is used there also. Okay, now so it basically helps in fermentation. Plus, how does it basically work? So we take some food, we take some fruits. Basically, we take some fruits. Different kind of fruits are taken for alcohol for manufacturing the alcohol, and the fruits contains in them, they contain sugar and glucose in them. So this sugar and glucose is the food for the yeast now. For the yeast, isn't it food? So the yeast will be feeding upon it, right? Yeast is going to feed upon it. And when we eat something, when some organism is going to eat something, it is going to respiration, isn't it, guys?
Yes, sir.
And in the process of respiration, carbon dioxide gas will be released. Plus the glucose is converted to something, right? In the case of the we humans, what does happen? The glucose is converted into carbon dioxide, water, and energy is released. But this yeast, you know what it does? It converts the sugar or glucose into alcohol. Plus carbon dioxide is released. So that is the principle of fermentation, where this organic compound, that is the glucose or sugar, is converted into alcohol and carbon dioxide is also produced. Where it is happening? It is happening in respiration. When this yeast will be doing respiration. When it does respiration, then this thing happens. Okay. Further, like it is used in the preparation of bread also. So you take some dough, you add some water, you add some sugar, you make sure that it is somewhat warm. So it will make a very suitable environment for the yeast to grow. So yeast will again do aerobic respiration, and here also it will be converting the glucose into simpler organic molecules. And plus, main thing is that carbon dioxide is going to form, because of which the dough rises and the volume is increased. Hence, this is the way how it works. Okay, now on a commercial level, in the manufacturing of alcohol, it is used. Okay, now plus, alcohol can be prepared from the rice also, from wheat and from barley also, not just from the fruit juices, but it can be prepared from these things also. Getting it?
Yes, sir.
Like since childhood, we have learned that alcohol is bad for health, but what exactly it does to the health? Ever thought about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ibrahim and Ramiz, like what exactly the alcohol does when it goes to the body? Think about this. Yeah, it basically weakens your immune system. Getting it? So thereby you become more susceptible to catching the diseases. Okay, na? Plus, it causes deficiency of important nutrients in the body. The body loses calcium or magnesium. Getting it now? Plus, it causes the liver to inflammate. Inflammation, you understand, now, something which becomes bigger in size. So liver inflammates. The person can suffer from high blood pressure. It can increase the blood pressure. It leads to the disease of the liver. Uh, and the most important thing is it damages the mental health. The most important thing is that it damages the mental health. Okay, now. So falling are the damages that are done by the alcohol. It weakens your immune system. Further, it decreases down the important nutrients present in the body. Important minerals are decreased down with the action of alcohol, like calcium, magnesium. These things are reduced by the action of the alcohol. It leads to fatty liver. It can damage the different organs in the body. It can make the muscles weak. Hmm. It most common thing is that it causes the blood pressure to increase. Okay, no? That is one thing. Hope you guys are getting it. In fact, in certain states of India, alcohol is banned. Do you guys know in which state of India alcohol is banned? Yeah,
Sir,
in
is
some
it in the south?
no, not in the south. It's in the north and in the northeast. There are some states like Bihar, Gujarat, Nagaland. Okay, no? Nagaland, and like in Mizoram also. Okay, no? And in the south, in the island, it is like in the Lakshadweep, it is uh, banned. Okay, no? So these are the states where it has been banned by the. Okay, so till fungi we have discussed. Okay, no? Here's the diagram that to help you to understand it better. Like when you add the yeast to the sugar, plus it can do respiration in anaerobic condition. That is a special thing about the yeast, as we know. So alcohol plus carbon dioxide gas will be formed. So that's it for today. We'll be continuing from the next class. Okay. Okay then, guys. Allah Hafiz.
Bye, sir.
Yes. Bye. Yes, Halima.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Yes. Walaikum Assalam. Okay. Just wait for a minute.